Okay guys, here is a well plate. See how they have divots, and that's where we're going to put the drops for our concentration reaction. Notice I'm setting it over an index card that has a black line because we're going to use that black line for our timing of the precipitate. Sulfur, a solid precipitate, will come out, and we're going to concentrate on when we can no longer see that black line for our rate. Chemicals we are using: sodium thiosulfate, water, and hydrochloric acid will start the reaction. That's going to start the reaction. So, according to the lab, we are in the first well, we're going to put 5 drops of sodium thiosulfate. In the second well, 4, third well, 3, fourth well, 2, and the fifth well, we'll put 1 drop. Now, that is to slowly lower the concentration of sodium thiosulfate. The second row, we're going to add water, because 5 drops of sodium thiosulfate and 1 drop of water is a total of 4 drops and 1 is a total of 5. 3 drops and 2 drops of water is a total of 5. 2 and 3 is a total of 5. We want to keep the amount the same, so we're actually just lowering the concentration. And then the hydrochloric acid is going to start our reaction. So as soon as I finish adding the 5 drops of acid, I'm going to come over here and start the stopwatch for well 1, well 2, well 3, well 4, and well 5. You guys are recording the end point. So let's get started. I'm going to 5 drops in the first well. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get some more. Second well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third well. 1, 2, 3. Let me make sure I have enough for the last 2. Fourth well. 1, 2. Fifth well. 1. So you can see I'm slowly going down in the amount of sodium thiosulfate. But now I'm going to get some water to bring all the volumes the same. That has 5 drops. The first well, I'm going to leave it the way it is. But this only has 4, so I'm going to add a drop of water. Now I'm going to add 2 drops of water and 3 drops of water and 4 drops of water. 2, 3, 4. So now if we scan, they all of these circles look pretty much the same because they're all 5 drops. So, however, this has the greatest concentration of sodium thiosulfate because it's pure sodium thiosulfate, and then I'm diluting, and diluting all the way down with water. So let's start the reaction with 5 drops of acid in the first well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit start. I'm going to do it in the second well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit start. Third well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit start. Start. And now the fourth well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hit start. And my fifth well, I gotta make sure this guy works. This is broken. So my fifth well, I will use my phone clock. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll I'll just make the motion, boom. So it has started. So now we will observe. Slide this down. This is the first stopwatch, second stopwatch, third. Now you are to record the data yourself. So as you're looking in this first well, you're going to record the time, but you can no longer see the black line through the chemicals. That's your call on this, guys. That is your call. No one's going to have the same data. And this is the stopwatch for the second well. This is the second well stopwatch. Your call, guys. And what's clouding up the drops is solid sulfur. It's a pale yellow. It's coming out of the sodium thiosulfate. That sulfate is breaking apart, and the sulfur is precipitating out as a solid. Precipitating out as a solid. Our third well. And remember, the differences in our wells are concentration of sodium thiosulfate. The concentration of the sodium thiosulfate. This was a lot of sodium thiosulfate, and then we stepped down by a drop each all the way down. This lab is exploring collision theory. Remember, molecules must collide in order to react. Yeah, third well, this is the third wells, that is the third wells clock. Third wells clock is right there. I'm going to slide this. That's the second wells clock. That's the first wells clock. So I'm going to slide this to the third wells clock. And then I'll slide it a little bit more. This is the fourth wells clock. Show you both the third and fourth wells. Let's come on down. Let's look at this fourth well, fourth clock. Now, as we get longer here, I want you to kind of remember what we're doing. We only started with 1 drop of sodium thiosulfate here, 2 drops of sodium thiosulfate here, 3 drops here, 4 drops, and then the largest amount is 5 drops. The acid is helping to remove the sulfur from that sodium thiosulfate solution. So here, as we remove the sulfur, we can't see the line. Not we remove, as the acid removes the sulfur or breaks it out, we can't see the line. And we can't see the line, and we can't kind of see the line, and then it's paler and paler. Even if we wait like half an hour, we really only have the 1 drop of the sodium thiosulfate to work with because the concentration is so low. And if the acid continues to work, will it get to a point where there's no sulfur left to precipitate out? So maybe that line will stay there because maybe we'll never be able to get cloudy enough because we didn't start with enough sulfur. Now, remember what we're looking at. We changed the concentration and we're recording reaction rate. And the rate is how long is it taking till we can no longer see that line. And will there be a point where it's just going to take way too long, if never? If never. So we want to look, this is the 4th clock for this guy. This is the 4th stopwatch for the 4th well. This is the 5th stopwatch. You just have to add 6 minutes to it. Add 6 minutes to it. So I started it at the 6-minute mark. 6 minutes to it. I'm not sure that's going to be applicable because I don't know if there's even enough sulfur in this that's going to eventually cloud that line. And remember the shape of these wells. The deepest part is right in the center. We are living in a gravity environment. So if you look very carefully, you can see that the darkest part is kind of the center of that circle because the sulfur literally falls down to the middle of the bowl here, to the middle bottom of the bowl, or well, that this is called. Again, stopwatch for 4. This is the stopwatch for the 3rd well. That's the stopwatch for the 2nd well. That's the stopwatch for the 1st well. My 5th stopwatch is over here, but you have to add 6 minutes to it. concentration versus reaction rate in a well plate. So I'm going to stop the video here and I will come back in a little bit. I think I'll give it 5 more minutes so you don't have to stare, to see if we can get some data for these last 3 or last 2 definitely. Some of you may have called the third well, which is fine. These are your eyes. You're using the same judgment on each one. So I'll be back in a bit.